Not every day does a fellow get to spawn in sight of such gorgeous death clouds. This here is a specimen from yesterday at Starbucks when I had only about an hour 20 maximum in which to continue my streak of days with time in first place. And it turns out I would get it in about 32 minutes. I kept my streak alive, made it a 9th straight day with time in first place. What is it now? Like 12 total firsts over 9 consecutive days. So we're keeping it alive, and actually I'm gravely threatening the streak today by threatening the end of the streak today by taking this time out to go over past glory when I could be playing more Slither. And another bit of note that's now a couple days in the past, a bit of glory that I would like to get back to, is I had a stretch really recently where 4 games out of 5 I reached at least, and this one gets a bit hairy. This guy's a bit intent on getting me. Oh, and you know what? There's a bit of I did not realize in which section of the world I was at this point, and started, like moving down to try to make my fortune. Here I'm moving down for briefly back to the bottom of the world in order to make my fortune, and which is kind of like, putting yourself in a corner, maybe kind of equivalent to putting yourself in a corner in Agario, where the bigger guys will squeeze you into the corner and eventually track you down. So if this guy who is so intent on circling me wanted to keep his intent up for it, I would be playing right into his hands, be going more towards the bottom of the world. I think at this point, I have witnessed the map and started going upward accordingly, trending upward, anyways. But yes, 4 games out of 5, it's a bit outrageous to me. Maybe kind of fear that I was graduating Slither. I don't want to graduate Slither, but what then? 4 games out of 5 to get to at least 2nd place. Now that is a whole lot. They're very bot-like, and there's one of them. And one of the advantages here, I think I had working for me, is that I'm in a bot sector, and it's not necessarily a bot world. It looks like everybody in the top 10, is this true? Everybody in the top, it's hard to see the bottom ones of it. It appears that everyone's in the top, at least at 10,000 in the top 10. That is not very bot-like, but I am at least in a bot sector where a lot of the death cloud gets ignored. And that's certainly helpful to getting to a #1 slot. Go follow a kill, no one bothers to collect, and you're right there. So lots of, as is usually the way with me, lots of scavenging. I stretch myself pretty tight. I guess I'm continuing to stretch myself tightly. Maybe beyond what's good for me. I keep maneuvering well. So, 32-minute. This 32-minute thing, it wasn't I logged in at Starbucks and immediately got to first place. I had four, I think I had about 4 games, all of them being recorded just in case. It is, it's suddenly slightly extra disappointing for me. Oh, let's get some of that. Oh, yes, please, thank you. It's extra disappointing to me nowadays not to finish in first, because it means, oh, now, damn, I have to hit the stop record button. I have to get my ducks in a row all over again, and it quite bums me out. It quite bums me out to not finish in first because of having to reset for my recording process. So that could, oh boy, yeah, how did either of us survive it? We did there. Temporarily. The other guy continued to be crazy while I let my cooler head prevail. Get out of the harm's way and retool for another day. So in that scenario, I am going still alive. As we play Slither, and we're seeing kind of the outline of where we want to draw our big circle. And now this one is the beginning of some intent. I'm getting a lot better at that. Oopsie daisy. I'm getting a lot better at seeing the intent to wrap. Instead of, just making my circle. And I think there was a time when I was concentrating on the circles, making circles without a lot of attention paid to anyone who might be wrapping me. And I've got much better eyes now. I've developed much better eyes for seeing wrapping plots unfold, beginning of them unfolding. But here we're up at 8,000. Oh boy! And now, okay, we turn out. Now here's the what the new love handle does with some consistency. I've developed a counterclockwise direction. Counterclockwise, what I can do safely and in the flow of things. So you see that huge death cloud above. I saw that huge death cloud above me, and unfortunately, there's a little bit left here. And okay, now this just gets grabbed right in the flow. Continuing counterclockwise goes right in the flow, even though there was much more death cloud to my right. I couldn't call it safe death cloud. Now this guy's going to just go right to the edge of him. And okay, now this case, okay, we're going to okay, dubious. Okay, just as I spoke, sometimes there's just too much, and the greed gets the better of you. And now, for a little bit of death cloud, I have done some really compromising things to my stretching out here. See if we can get ourselves back in shape a little bit. We're going to try to get ourselves back in shape. Oh, thank you very much. I have a real hard time resisting any kind of kill at all. Still, I think, well, that little guy, he's mine, and I want him. And can we get around this guy? Oh, that was very fortunate. It allows me to, and you know what we're going to ignore. See, here the plan is, we want to stretch out. We're pretty committed to staying here. And let's see, is this going to totally change my outlook here? I think I'm coming back. You know what, this is lucrative ground. And there I am in 9th place. I don't know when 10th happened. But I'm on the leaderboard at this point. And here's a bit. Now, for that other bit of death cloud, I had extended my shape so that it was, so that little pink stuff was outside of, ended up being outside of my circle. But the plan had been to keep my shape, absent anything really cool happening. And see if we can close. The plan was to keep my shape, and then just come back for that little bit of cloud later. So we're getting a little bit better at expanding, and here a little bit of fairly safe territory for expanding, although I'm in pretty tight. That white guy looks dangerous. And you know what? He could close it, but there's two people around suddenly, and this is watch this. Watch this three-headed race coming up. There, look at that. Look at that. Three heads all together. And even though I was surroundable, there was too much pressure on the layer behind that for the guy to close, and now everybody outside has blown. There's not a lot of leaderboard movement to account for that, but it appears I'm in 8th place right now. I was the one inside, potentially wrapped by two guys. They both blow in short order. I'm the one standing. Nice pickup. And this was not safe enough for me, but until now. And you just keep on going with, this is really a rich one. Keep on going with the death cloud that you can pick up in the flow, in the natural flow of maintaining your shape. And well, okay, now I'm just shot up to 4. I have not been watching, but that's pretty darn rapid. And a little bit dubious there, but and you know what, I'm going to die dubiously, but that's for another time. Very tight, but boy, you know, I'm already about as twisted as I could be. Let's go ahead and get that little bit. Now here it looks like a lot of daylight, but once again, it appears to be a rich territory. Can we get some of that? Appears to be a very rich territory of people exploding all over the place, and I've been holding so far. Down to 7. That's a damn shame. Now maybe I get the census here. I think this is what happens here. Yeah. Okay. I was influenced to leave my shape out of a bit of a realization. Well, now we're coming back to it. But I had an openness, and just figured this is not worth it. You think, well, maybe you get around that. You don't go for the cloud in particular, but you go for, that was a damn shame. You don't go for the cloud, but the person eating the cloud with the cloud. Make it turn it into a wrap. And now that little guy, he totally disrupts my desire to be mellow as I close. And so we're going to finally go for, well, maybe this is a sign that I wasn't meant to stray too far from where I already was. Minding my own business. Bots don't bother with with cleaning up after themselves. Back and forth, very twisty. Where in the world? And 17,000. It hasn't been very long. The 9th consecutive day of spending time in first place. Now I'm definitely at the size where simple maneuvering doesn't work, but you know, you're big enough for wrap. So here I've finally come to finally recognizing that I've grown too big for the scavenger role that I played at an earlier stage of the game. So here we're finally taking our game to adding this dimension. So yes, I can perform a wrap. When my normal mode is chill, it doesn't happen so naturally in the flow of things. And there I am up to 2nd. And maybe, you know, I think at this point, watching the leaderboard maybe is more exciting than watching my snake self turn in circles. It's going to be any second. We're going to make it the 9th consecutive day. This guy is chasing me. And I'm kind of, well, we're down to 3rd. We're going to have to come back again. It's going to take some doing here. We're going to need some people to die in front of us. And this guy's still chasing. Oh, and there he blows. And of course, instead of I merely speed up around my existing circle rather than, now will it last? No, it doesn't last. You just spin wheels. Although maybe kicked up dust, it made it more attractive for other people to be going around you. So now we're in second. Keep that eye. I don't think there's anything that spectacular that happens on the field, but that love hound is going to click from second to first. Any second now, it seems to me. Was it event-oriented? Was it an event-oriented movement? I think it's just somebody blew. This would be a nice little pickup. Slurp. And there we are. We're in first place. There it is. Enjoy it while it lasts. It wasn't very long. I'm the only guy on the board who's above 20,000 at this moment. And it satisfies the requirements to make this a 9th consecutive day with time spent in first place. My previous record had been 4. Thank the Acer Chromebook. It's such a fast beauty, and there we're already down to second. We're not going to see it again. We're not going to see first again. You know what? I died in a pretty instructive way. It's not that long from now, so I think we might as well stay with it. And I'll give you a parting lesson of what not to do if you want to get your first 100,000 game. I do believe I have a 100,000 game in my future, even though my all-time record is only 71,000. The 71 was a case in which I did not actually die on the board. Is this the one where, no, how do I die? Is this the one that happened? I think it is. I think it is. Yeah. I know how to die. You don't. That's how this probably should be, is that you do not know what I know. The 71,000, I didn't die on the board. It was Starbucks. It was midnight at Starbucks. Starbucks is where I have the good conditions. So I played Starbucks, even though it means that there is such a thing as a closing time. So it was 71,000. Starbucks kicked me out at midnight, turned into a pumpkin, and that particular game was like, it was no telling. So if I've got the time block, I've got my beautiful fast Acer, I've got the time block. There's no reason that the 100,000 barrier not to fall, and fall pretty soon, I think. I just have a feeling the way it's been such fast, the movement has been so dramatic. My improvement has been so dramatic with the Acer. Yeah, I feel it could be imminent. Not today, because I have pressures of not the place I go to closing, but now you can get this a little bit of a taste. See, not much. There wasn't a whole lot I can do there and stay in the flow. And at this point, there's almost nothing you can do. You got a safe spot, and you're pretty much impassable. Not totally, but fully extended, pretty darn impassable. Here's where your future is, even if there's death cloud elsewhere that you can get more of that particular death cloud, and who knows about your ability to reset your shape and live very long beyond the one payoff kill. And this is certainly, where are we in the map? We're down lowish, but not as low as you might be. Central by 1 dimension. South central. And there I measured by a desire to get that last dot. It does an excellent job of making me even less passable. And one thing here that I'm seeing a little bit of shaking of the head here. I actually had some bad lag going. Tiny worm. Okay, and we're back in business. Oh, we're going to get to see it for ourselves after all. We're back in business. And there he is, the tiny little worm. What's the guy's name? Anyhow, there it is. And yes, do not change direction. Whatever you do, do not change direction. I don't know how many times I've told myself this. Do not freaking change direction ever, 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 ever once you set your circle.